There's several different parts to this portion of us digging in and working with exploded moments. And so I'm going to ask you to have a few things in front of you or open on your screen before we really dig into the video. The first thing that you're going to need is an exploded, like guide to writing an exploded moment. That should look something like this. Yours, if it is on paper, it is probably on some kind of a color. It is 3-hole punch to make sure that it is going to stay inside your Avid binder. If you're looking at this virtually, then that's okay too. But I'm going to ask you to highlight or to mark some things on here as we go through this portion of the lesson. The other thing that I'm going to ask you to have is this exploding a moment handout. If you click on this on your screen, it's going to ask you to make a copy. Please go ahead and do that. Yours is going to end up looking like this. You'll notice that it has this exploded moment practice that we worked on earlier, and then you're going to have some space down below here where you can write. You have a choice to do this either virtually by clicking on that link, looking at it that way, or to do it physically, and we have paper copies of this handout that will be in front of you. No matter what, please expect to submit a completed version of this when your time is finished. Notice you'll also have a timer up here that you can begin whenever you are finished with this video and you're ready to dig in. The whole purpose of this portion of what you're going to be doing is that you are going to actually be drafting your own exploded moment. And in order to do that, I'm going to ask you to go to the guidelines for writing your own exploded moment. I'm going to be reading and pointing out a few things to you. I want you to actually be marking on your sheet, just like I am marking on this sheet, or if you're on paper, then you can mark on it in that way. So what I want you to do is in step 1, this is showing you exactly how to break this down. So step 1 asks you to choose a simple sentence and then figure out, okay, what mood is it that I am trying to capture in my exploded moment? So here in a few minutes, you're going to have a chance to choose your own simple sentence. It can be one that is listed here, or it can be one that you come up with on your own, but it should be very similar. Step 2 is where we really start to build our moment. So step 2 says, put on your writer's binoculars and focus on all of the details hiding in your blurry simple sentence. What I want you to do is I want you to underline or highlight this section of the text where it says, focus on those details that are hiding in your blurry simple sentence. Remember that writer's binoculars should allow us to zoom way in and really dig deep and look at what's available here. It also says to use as many senses as are appropriate. So I want you to highlight where it says or circle where it says as are appropriate, which means that you're not trying to get all 5 senses in every single part of every single sentence that you write. It's just really important to make sure you are getting as many in as you can to, again, try and create that 3D experience for your audience. And as a matter of fact, in this space up here or in this space down here, I want you to write create a 3D experience for your audience. That's something that's really important, and that's what these exploded moments do, right? It's really important. I'm going to keep building this and doing all sorts of things with it. So that's what step 2 is all about. You'll notice that on this handout that it has examples of questions that can help you figure out what kinds of details to include. Now, this is definitely not the only series of questions that you can ever look at when it comes to things like this. These are just for sparking your knowledge and sparking your creativity to really dig into these. Step 3 is to create your snapshot. And really remember that snapshot is, the purpose of it is to freeze a particular scene. So I want you to underline or highlight where it says freeze a particular scene. You're really going to use some of the details from your binoculars, but you're painting a still life picture with your words. And again, I want you to highlight where it says a still life picture with your words. Trying to create in writing something that could be a still painting, a picture hanging on a wall somewhere. So you want to make sure to do that. You'll notice that it says you can experiment with a simile or metaphor to capture that moment. These are both comparative literary techniques, and they're really, really useful for creating a great snapshot. Step 4 is where you create a thought shot. And remember, the thought shot shares your thoughts, your feelings, or your reactions. And again, I'd like for you to circle, underline, or highlight that section. It's all of those things. It's how your character is thinking, feeling, and reacting. Again, those should be invisible. Your audience is only getting it because you're speaking that out loud. Your thought shot can be in the form of a question or a statement. I want you to circle or highlight, maybe in a different color, the word statement. There's nothing wrong with questions. You are welcome to use them. But I notice that many young writers use questions far too often, and your goal is to have more of these that are written in a statement form. Finally, you're going to combine your exploded moment, all of these things together, your binoculars, your snapshot, and your thought shot, and you're going to write it in paragraph form. The key is that a couple of things. First of all, your original simple sentence should not be a part of your exploded moment, right? So I would highlight or circle or underline that. The original simple sentence shouldn't even exist anymore, just like when we were playing with the sensory details assignments last class. You can also, when you're looking at your exploded moment, really take the challenge to make the situation you're trying to describe and imagine no more than 60 seconds. We know that in some of the mentor texts that we've looked at, that it hasn't even been 60 seconds worth of time, and it's been multiple paragraphs. Your goal is that you're creating that one powerful slow motion event. And as you're doing that, you're going in and out, you're weaving all of these different things together. So your handout should be all marked up at this point. Let's go ahead and go take a look at the assignment itself. So you have this, again, you either made a copy of it because you went and you clicked on the Exploded Moment handout that's linked here on the screen, or you are looking at that handout because it was printed and you have it in front of you on your desk. Your first task is to go ahead and create or choose your simple sentence. Yours can be something like, I'm sitting in class right now, or the students were sitting in class, or the students were sitting outside, or whatever it happens to be. Or you can back what we were just looking at and select one of the simple sentences that's from the guidelines, writing your own exploded moment. Then you are going to take a few minutes, and I would say no more than 5, and I want you to brainstorm multiple writer's binoculars details, a couple of snapshot scenes, and a couple of thought shots. You just want to be thinking about where could these things fit and how could I write them in such a way that I'm creating that 3D experience. When you're here in this space, you're looking at your writer's binoculars, your snapshot, and your thought shot. This portion does not need to be in complete sentences. You're brainstorming, you're playing with language, you're digging into details. This is where you're trying to pull everything, like getting all of the pieces to the puzzle ready, but you're not ready to put it all together. You're just brainstorming. You should have your complete sentence up here, your simple sentence that you're starting with, and then all of your details that you're trying to brainstorm. Once you have each of these, that's when you're going to go down, or you're going to flip your sheet of paper over, write your actual exploded moment. This should be a full paragraph, written as a paragraph with all of the things that you brainstormed from your binoculars, your snapshot, and your thought shot woven in. So you might start with some writer's binoculars, you might put in your thought shot, then you might have some more writer's binoculars, then you might have your snapshot, then you might end with more writer's binoculars, maybe there's a final thought shot. You're weaving this all in to where it should be one complete paragraph, just like the model at the top that we took a look at earlier. I'm really excited to read your writing. I can't wait to see everything that you put together. Your goal is to do this in around 15 minutes, so I don't want you to drag it out a super long time. You're not writing an entire story. You're just focused on one exploded moment. Start your timer, and I can't wait to see what you create.